Who needs a sugar daddy? No, like not in 2020. Like, no, we don't. Hey guys, I'm Casey Simone. I make videos about something everybody needs, but nobody wants to talk about: money. In this video, I'm going to teach you the key steps in order to become financially independent. But before I give you the tips, I want to make sure that we all understand what I mean by financially independent. If you're financially independent, you don't count on anyone or anything for money. Like, you don't have to ask anybody for money. If your car breaks down, you can handle it. If you drop your brand new iPhone 11 Pro Max and it's shattered, you can handle that. If all of a sudden you remember, oh wait, I have to pay the registration fees and taxes on my car, it's that time of the year again, you can take care of that. Rent, you can take care of that. Like, you don't have to ask anybody for anything, whether it's an expected or an unexpected expense. You can take care of that yourself, and you don't have to say, hey mama, can I have some money and I'll pay you back? Hey sister, can you loan me some money? Hey brother, hey auntie, hey uncle, hello friend, hello boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, partner, grandma. Nobody. Like, you can do that yourself. So back to the tips. Tip number 1, have an emergency savings. You need some like stash of money to fall back on for times when something's going to come up and you're going to need like $500, and you may not have $500, but that's when you would want to have an emergency savings. You drop your phone. What are you going to do? Like, can you buy a new one? Your car breaks down. What are you going to do? Like, do you have the money to fix that? Things where they weren't planned, but they happened anyway, and now you have to come up with a plan to fix that. That's when you will want to have an emergency savings. And if you follow Dave Ramsey, he suggests having a small emergency savings of like $1,000. And then after you pay off debt, you can add on to that and grow it so that, like, for 3 to 6 months, if something happens and you don't have a job, you are covered because you have a kind of like a larger emergency fund. But you can start off smaller if you're more comfortable with that. I currently have $1,000 in emergency savings. And when I was paying off my car, if you haven't seen that video, I paid off my car in 1 year. So small plug for me. Go and watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. But when I was on that journey of paying off my car, I was like very heavy into Dave Ramsey, and I'm thankful for that because that helped me to pay off my car. But I've been like rethinking wanting to like only have $1,000 in savings. Just because like it's scary out here, guys. Like, it's truly scary. So my new job is a contract job, and I have been under the impression since I started it this past summer that it would be there until like May of next year. Like that's when it's supposed to end. And I very recently learned that that is not the case. And my contract is actually over in December next month. And I've been using my money and planning my money as if like this job would end in May when it's actually going to end in December. Now it may be renewed, but it may not. And that's put me in like a very scary mindset because I'm like, I have $1,000 saved and that's it. And my rent is more than $1,000. So like I can't even pay rent off of that emergency savings. So I'm going to start beefing up my emergency savings. I honestly like don't know how high I can get it from now. Today is November the 24th. So I don't know how much I can save towards it by the end of December. But yeah, I want to put more money aside just in case like this contract isn't renewed. Like, what am I going to do? Because the last thing I want is to have to call up my parents and be like, hello, mama and daddy, I hope you're doing well. You may want to sit down for this. I'm going to need you to support me for the next month or so, maybe shorter than that, maybe longer than that, depending on if I can get a new job. You know, like you don't want to have to make that phone call to anybody asking for money. So I'm going to start putting more money into savings. And I'm still focused on paying off debt. I'm going to start like being super focused in January, but I don't know. Like I just want like a bigger cushion than this. I'd like to be able to pay off rent like twice, and not have to worry about it and just use some money from that emergency savings. So I think I'm going to build it up to like 2 months and then like go super hard into paying off debt. But yes, have an emergency savings and only use it for emergencies. You lose your job, you need to have money until you get a new job. That's when you dip into the emergency savings. Your car breaks down, you need new tires. In this day and age, I think that a phone is a necessity. You don't have to have the flagship phones, but you know, if you break your phone and you need a new one, that would be a time to use that emergency savings. What is not an emergency is, oh my God, Fenty is on sale. Like, no, that's not what the emergency is. Like, nope, that's not what we use that money for. Just like be real with yourself and what is an emergency. Food, shelter, transportation. Tip number 2, have a good credit score. If you don't know what your credit score is, you can use different websites. I believe I use Credit Karma to check my credit score. But the reason why you want to know what your credit score is and have it be good, I think it's like, it can be like bad, good, or like excellent. You want yours to be good because when you have a good credit score, it opens up doors for you to get other things, such as apartments. If you don't have a good credit score, a lot of apartment complexes won't approve you to live there. Cars, if you don't have a good credit score, a lot of dealerships won't work with you, and you'll have to go to like little like sketchy side of the road type places to get your car, and they're probably going to give you like a really high interest rate. A house, you can't buy a house really if you have bad credit. And if you can get a house with a loan, like again, the interest rate is going to be really bad because you have bad credit. And I think that there's a lot of things like systematically wrong with judging people based off of a credit score, but that's the world we live in, and I don't know when that's going to change. So until it changes, make sure you have a good credit score. Tip number 3, you want to save up for big major purchases. These can be things like vacations. Like, don't go on a 3-week backpacking trip to Europe on a credit card. Like, don't put all of that on a credit card. Like, that's not a necessity. It's not like you being a real extra if you're funding your entire vacation on a credit card. You want to be able to save up for those things so that it's not like a huge jolt to your system. Like, oh shit, like, oh, I have to pay I have to pay that money back. Oh, but if you're saving up ahead of time, like a trip, weddings, if you're a part of a wedding, those can be expensive. But if you know that your friend is getting married like 9 months from now, you have 9 months to save up. If you're a bridesmaid and you need a dress, or I don't know, if it's a destination wedding and you're like, I really want to support my friend as she gets married in the Caribbean, but like, I don't have money for that. But if they give you like time to plan for it, then save up the money so that you're able to go. But the last thing you're going to want to do is put all of these expenses on a credit card or ask somebody to like help you. Tip number 4, pay off all of your consumer debt. That was one of the like big reasons for me like paying off my car. Like, I didn't want to be stuck in this cycle for the next 4 years of me like constantly having to send Honda Financial Services $440 what was it, $430.19, like every single month for 4 years straight. Like I wanted to do other things with that money, and I couldn't do that if I constantly had to send that money to them to pay for the car. So that can be applied to credit card debt. If you owe Victoria's Secret like $1,200 because you were just balling out one day, like, ooh, this is on sale. You just like went and bought everything in the store. Like, you have to pay that back. And it's not, that's why like credit cards can be dangerous, because you think that things are free and they're not, but it feels like it's free because it's like, oh, just put it on the credit card. No, that is how people get stuck. That's how finances get ruined. Like that's how you create like a very deep hole for yourself. And if you don't know like how to get out of it, it may seem impossible. If you owe Apple money for a MacBook or a phone or whatever, like pay that off. If you owe Victoria's Secret money, pay it off. Nordstrom, pay it off. Like West Elm, pay it off. Like anything that you bought and you knew that you couldn't afford, but you just put it on a credit card because that's what you had access to, like pay it off. And once it's paid off, don't put yourself in that position again. Like only buy things if you have the money in your checking account. Okay? And I know that some people are like, but I get the reward points from the credit card. It's not worth it if it's going to take you more than a month to pay it off. Like, it's not worth it. Like, it's really not, because whatever you get in reward points, you're just going to be paying that and more with the interest rate. So, like, if you can't pay it off in a month, don't put it on your credit card. Okay? And finally, tip number 5, live within your means. You cannot make like $40,000 a year, but spend $60,000 a year. Like that, it doesn't make sense. And you would think that like you don't have to tell people that, but there are seriously people who are living like way above their means. And it's like, it's really dangerous. And it doesn't matter really like how much money you're making. If you're making like $200,000 a year, but you spend $210,000 a year, you're going to be in debt, and you're still going to be living paycheck to paycheck, and you're still going to have to put things on your credit card because you're living above your means. If you can find out a way to live below your means and do that for theoretically the rest of your life, like you will be set, and like life will be so much more comfortable for you, because as long as you can pay your rent or your mortgage and your utilities, and you have clothes and you have food and you have transportation, like anything other than that is extra, is surplus, is things that aren't needed. So if you can cover your baseline, your necessities, and stick to that only, and then save or invest any other money that you make, like that is the true key to financial freedom, to financial independence. Because if you keep doing that over like years of your life, like you're just gonna like have this pile of money stocked up because you're not spending every single thing that you make. So that's like major key right there. Like that is the true key to being successful financially. So yes, those are my tips. I hope that helped someone. Other people that may seem like more basic, but you'd be surprised. Like people are just not financially literate, and I don't think that's anyone's fault. I think that we just live in a society where basic financial guidelines or tools aren't taught, and they're not accessible to everyone. And you know, if your family doesn't talk about finances, if your friends don't talk about it, if you're not around people who have ever taught you those type of things, then you're not going to know it. So that's why I just want to continue making videos like this and just bring awareness to finances and money and how to get better at your career and grow your career and things like this. Because like in these days, like, you have to be your own hero. Like, save yourself. Like, no one is coming. Like, we have to save ourselves. So yes, like, those are my tips. If you have any more tips, please leave them down below in the comment section. Hope you like the video, and why don't you just go ahead and subscribe to the channel so we can see more of each other in the future. Bye.